Well, this message is really, really heavy on my heart today. The Holy Spirit's been dealing with me about this. And I think if there ever was a time in our society and culture that we need this message, it is today. I've entitled this message, The Integrated Life. The Integrated Life. Now, if you think about technology, if you're familiar with a phrase called the cloud, when they introduced the cloud, for those of you that are awesome, you have an Apple, so you understand what the Apple cloud is. And Apple has done something. They built their own ecosystem, which means no matter which Apple device you're using, you can access anything that's been saved to the cloud. And what they wanted you to be able to do is, if you remember the days, if you were working on a document at home and then you wanted to go work on it at work, you had to, well, I guess it started with a floppy disk. You had to save it to a floppy disk and then take it to work and start working on the floppy disk. But then you had to email yourself. So now you've got 3 or 4 versions of that same document. But once they introduced the cloud, this document can be saved to a cloud. And no matter where you are, you can work on the same document. And when you make a change on your phone, it's recorded on all of your devices, your computer, your tablet, wherever you are, it's all recorded. You're working on the same document. What they wanted you to be able to do was they wanted to make your experience whole, completely connected. And that's why we did these circles today, because that's what the integrated life means. Now, where did the word integrated come from? It comes from a word called integrity. Everybody say integrity. And that's really what I'm talking to you about. Integrity, when your behavior matches your beliefs. An adherence to a moral and ethical principle. Soundness of moral character and honesty. But here's the definition that I really want to key in on. The state of being whole. And that's where integrated comes from. The state of being whole. Fully connected. In other words, you're not working on a document at home and a different document at work. It's the same thing, whether you're at work, whether you're at home, whether you come to church. This is what a life of integrity is. You're the same. You're the same wherever you are. You're the same if everybody's watching. You're the same if nobody's watching. It's tragic that we live in a world where people are shocked by integrity and not by dishonesty. Listen, when you do something honest, you'll blow people away. Because our culture today expects you to be dishonest. Our culture expects no integrity. We live in a culture that celebrates talent more than integrity. I don't care if you have integrity. How well do you throw a football? I don't care what you do in your personal life. How good are you at singing? Do you entertain me when you get on the stage? And this is even bled over into the church. We don't care how the preacher lives at home. Just does he bring the word on Sundays? You know? This is the culture, and we celebrate talent more than integrity. But always remember this. Talent depreciates over time. Intellect depreciates. Appearance depreciates. And you'll eventually lose your strengths, and you're going to lose your looks. You may even lose your mind. How many's like, I'm already there? But no matter how old you get, you do not have to lose your integrity. Integrity is the only thing that doesn't depreciate over time. In fact, it increases in value. Why do we reward image over integrity? It's easy. Image is easy. Integrity is hard. What is the picture of a life of integrity? Psalms chapter 15, if you want to go in your Bible or you want to look it up and make a note for yourself. Psalms chapter 15, and I'm going to start reading at verse number 1 through verse 5. And I want you to watch, because this is a picture. This is God's definition of integrity. The psalmist says, Lord, who may dwell in your sanctuary? What is the sanctuary? It is the house of the presence of God. It is not just a building. We call this a sanctuary, but your body is also a sanctuary. It's a temple. But wherever you go, your car can be a sanctuary. A hospital room can be a sanctuary. Where you work can be a sanctuary. It is a place where the presence of God. So I want to live my life dwelling in the presence of God. I want to know that the presence of God is with me wherever I go. How do I make that happen? It's very simple. Number one, Lord, who may dwell in your sanctuary. Verse 2, he whose walk is blameless, integrity, and who does what is righteous, integrity, who speaks truth from his heart, integrity, has no slander in his tongue, integrity, who does his neighbor no wrong, integrity, who casts no slur on his fellow man, integrity, who despises a vile man but honors those who fear the Lord, integrity, who keeps his oath even when it hurts, integrity, who lends his money without usury. I had to look up that word usury. What it means is you don't lend money with a ridiculously high interest rate. You know, yeah, oh man, I'll help you out. 30% interest rate. Not integrity. Who does not accept a bribe against the innocent, integrity. Now watch what God says. He who does these things will never, somebody shout never, will never be shaken. I want to live a life where I'm not shaken by the storms coming against my life. Then live a life of integrity. When you live an integrated life, a life of integrity, it doesn't matter what the enemy brings against you, you will never be shaken. Yeah, but they lied about me. Let them lie. Let them lie, because they can't mark your integrity. Don't turn their lie into truth. That's all I'm saying. Benefits of walking in integrity. Number one, you can walk closely with God. Every day of your life, it's you and Jesus. See, when you have a lack of integrity, it creates a divide between you and God. Like Adam and Eve, when they didn't act in integrity, they disobeyed God, they had to go hide themselves. When we live a life where we don't have integrity, then it creates a divide between us and God. Number two, you have a built-in guide. Well, should I do this? Should I do this? You know what? When you live with integrity, you don't have to ask everybody's opinion on everything. You just do what's right, because it is the thing of integrity. I'm making this decision because integrity is guiding me to make this decision. Number three, you have constant peace in your heart. I read a quote this week that said, "There's no pillow as comfortable as honesty." And when you live a life of integrity, you can sleep so good at night. You don't have to think, man, what lie am I going to have to create tomorrow to reconnect the lie I lied today and the lie I lied from yesterday, and now I got to wake up and now I got to make sure nobody finds me out. No, when you live a life of integrity, you can sleep at night. You don't go to sleep thinking of how you did somebody wrong, or how God knows what you did, and how God knows you cheated, or how God knows you were disobedient, or how God knows you betrayed. No, when you live with integrity, you just go to sleep at night with peace in your heart. And number four, you gain trust, respect, honor, and influence. One day when I'm about 140 years old and I die, thought somebody would say amen. One day, I don't know what they'll say at my funeral. Maybe they'll say I was a good communicator, a preacher. Maybe they'll say I was a soul winner. That'd be a great honor. But I think one of the greatest things anybody could say about a person is they were a man of integrity. They were a woman of integrity. You could trust them. When they told you something, you could trust them. They earned your respect. We gave them honor, and they were a man or woman of influence because they lived their life with impeccable integrity. A Japanese proverb says, "The reputation of 1,000 years may be determined by the conduct of 1 hour." Let me explain what that means. I've known great preachers who could get up behind a podium like this, take a microphone and a Bible, and amaze you with the words God would put in their mouth. Thousands would be saved under their ministry. Officiated weddings, officiated baby dedications, officiated funerals was a major part of people's lives. But whenever you mention their name, the only thing they're known for is that one season of their life they lost integrity. Despite all the good they did, their legacy is that moment they lost integrity. So the reputation of 1,000 years, the way people are going to talk about you after you're long dead and gone, could be formed by 1 hour that you lost integrity. How do we lose integrity? Well, maybe you're going through the bank and the teller gives you too much money. Now, how do you handle that? Do you call somebody and say, won't he do it? Look at my God. Look at what he did. Double for my trouble. So look, some of you are like, well, I did that. Yes, I actually did that. But see, I remember being a little boy sitting in the back seat, and my dad went through the teller and they gave him his money, and he pulled out, he got on the road, he counted his money, he turned the car around, he went back into the bank, and he took that cash and he went in and said, here, it's okay, we all make mistakes, you gave me too much money. And he gave it back to the teller. And that impressed me as a child. My dad's a man of integrity. He didn't take that wasn't his. And so he took it and gave it back. That's integrity. Do you call in sick even though you feel perfectly fine? Just not gonna be able to make it today. I know none of you did that when March Madness started. I don't want to call. I could give an altar call right now and half the men in the room would come to the altar for calling in sick. You weren't sick, you were at BW3s. Pay your bills. Now, number one, don't buy something you can't afford. That's not integrity. Well, I'm believing God for it. Well, believe God for the money to buy it before you buy it. Be a person of integrity. When I was first becoming the pastor, I called every first-time guest and just said, hey, thank you for coming to our church. Can I pray for you? And you would not believe the number of times I would call on the phone and say, hi, is such and such there? No, they don't live here anymore. And I'd say, oh, I'm so sorry. Well, this is Pastor Eric. Pastor Eric, oh, no, this is me. And I'd say, now hold up real quick. Did you just move back in? That was quick. They were avoiding a bill collector. That's not integrity. If you owe a bill, pay it. And if the bill collector calls, then work something out with them that you can pay it back. Be a person of integrity. They didn't put that debt on you. You chose that debt. So just be a person of integrity and pay it back. We're in tax season. Can't lie on your taxes and expect favor on your life. And let me just say this. I want to insert this one just because this is personal for me. Chipotle. So when you get carry out at Chipotle and you go through the line and you order your burrito, and then when you're done, you go over to the condiment bar. That condiment bar is not for you to stock up on your plasticware and your napkins for the next year. That is not Sam's Club. Look how many guilty people there. People ducking, hiding, start running out of church. Well, they put all them forks out there, and well, sometimes it takes 57 forks to eat this burrito. No, it doesn't. Well, I thought they were giving those bottles of hot sauce away. No, they weren't. Can I get an extra bag for napkins? Can I just get a... So why do we do it? It's out there in front of us. Why do we do this? Here's what I've learned. What is convenient often overwhelms what is right. We take the convenient way, but you will never have God's blessing on your life without integrity. Maybe the reason you keep running into problems, maybe the reason you can't get ahead, maybe the reason you don't feel like God ever gives you a break is because your life doesn't have God's blessing on it. And it doesn't have His blessing because you're not living with integrity. Someone said, don't do anything you wouldn't want to read about the next day in the newspaper. Whatever you're doing today, whatever you did on Friday, how about this? What if on Friday you knew everybody was going to wake up on Saturday and read about what you did on Friday. All of us here in the church. What if we hired a private detective just to follow you around? Then we said, we're going to put it up here on the screen, and I want you to watch. Look them over here. They're cheating that person, and look at them over here lying on their taxes. And look, would you want us to do that? Well, don't you know God's always watching? Let's live a life of integrity. Reputation is who others think you are. Integrity is who you really are. Some of you have a great church reputation. You know how to put it on for church. People think you're spiritual, godly, honest, but when you get home, you turn into a completely different person. Because reputation is not who you really are. Integrity is who you really are. So my question is, which you are you really? Because your kids know the real one. They don't even recognize their mom at church. They're like, she ain't near this nice at home. Having integrity means you live in accordance to your deepest values. You're honest with everyone and you always keep your word. One person said it takes 20 years to build a reputation and 5 minutes to ruin it. And if you think about that, you'll live your life differently. I remember waking up. Now, when I was a kid, and many of you, when you was kids, you went down to watch the Reds or the Bengals play at Riverfront Stadium. And I remember going down there, and it took 2.5 years to build Riverfront Stadium. But I woke up one morning, early on a Sunday morning, because what took 2.5 years to build was torn down in 37 seconds. 2.5 years to build it, 37 seconds to tear it down. My question is that what you want the end of your life to be? You spend an entire life building a reputation just to allow a few seconds to tear that reputation all down? Proverbs 10:9, the man of integrity walks securely. Notice God says he'll never be shaken. And now Proverbs says when you have integrity, you'll walk securely. You need to get your integrity swag on. You know what I'm talking about? Put your chest out. When you walk with integrity, you have confidence. But he who takes crooked paths will be found out. Integrity is not determined by circumstances. Rather, circumstances reveal integrity. Well, I would be a person of integrity if my circumstances would change and I didn't have to lie to get ahead and I didn't have to cheat to get ahead. No, all your circumstances are doing is revealing who you are on the inside. And one of the greatest circumstances to reveal your integrity is success. Let's let you experience some success and we will find out who you really are. When you do the right thing, well, Pastor, I can't get ahead. Here's what I've learned. When you do the right thing, God will make it up to you. If other people don't live with integrity, God will always honor you because you chose integrity. I heard a story of a man. He was in a small town and he was a builder and he had built most of the homes in this town. He was a very skilled builder, but he didn't have much for himself. He never charged people more than what it cost to build. So he didn't have a lot and he lived on a small little house on the outskirts of the town. One day, a man who had been successful raised in that town came back. He was a multi-millionaire. And he told this builder, he said, I want you to build me a house and I want it to be the most extravagant house you've ever built for anybody in this city. Now I'm going to go away and I'm going to come back when you're finished and I can't wait to see what you're going to build. Well, this builder started laying out the plans for this exquisite house and he started thinking about it. He said, you know what? Nobody's ever done anything for me in this town. Most people don't even thank me when I build their house and when I do all this work. So this guy has a ton of money, so I can afford to take some of it. He can afford to give me some of it. So I'm gonna plan this extravagant house, but I'm gonna cut corners everywhere I can. I'm gonna mix the concrete and water it down, make it really cheap. I'm gonna cut corners in the framing because once I put drywall up, nobody will see the framing. I'm gonna cut corners in the electric. I'm gonna use the cheapest shingles. I'm gonna use the cheapest tiles in the bathroom. Everywhere I can cut a corner, I'm gonna cut a corner because this man can afford it. When he was finished, the millionaire came back to the town and on the outside, the house was absolutely gorgeous. He looked at that builder and he said, my goodness, this is the most beautiful house you've ever built. And you know what? I know that you've done so much for people in this town. I wanted to do something for you. And he took the keys to the house and handed them back to the builder and said, this is your house. That's lack of integrity. You're building something right now that looks good on the outside, but at the end of the day, you're the one who has to live in it, and your family has to live in it. So you better make sure that you pay attention to what's on the inside, not just what's on the outside. One person said, always believe what a person does, not what he says. Anything that we gain with a lack of integrity will never be as good as it could have been. Character is built in the small moments of our lives. And anytime you crack a moral principle, you have a lack of integrity, you create a small crack in the foundation of your integrity. And then when times get tough, it becomes harder to act with integrity, not easier. Do I have any, I don't know if Dr. Any Alami's in this service, do I have any surgeons, any doctors in the room? Can you raise your hand if you're a surgeon, you're a doctor? Anybody raising their hand? I'm missing them. Right here. Can you come up? Can you come up here? Can you help me out? Come on, I'll put you on the spot. You got this. Stage fright. Okay, he's got stage fright. Who's got steady hands? Steady hands. Right back here. Who with a point neck? Come on up here. Quick. Run up. Oh, Dr. Perry Wong. This guy's great. Come on up here, doctor. This, I'll tell you, church, many of you have met him in Growth Tracks. He is just a great man. And we are honored to have you a part of Citygate Church. You ever play Jenga? So doctors are supposed to have steady hands, right? So we're gonna play a little bit of Jenga. So you know how you do, you take a piece from somewhere down here and then you gotta stack it back up on top. So just go ahead and start. Now while he's doing that, I want to tell you, does anybody know what the name Jenga means and where it came from? Jenga is actually Swahili. I didn't know that. And it means to build. It's Swahili for to build. You're going to have to go a little faster than that, doctor. I mean, it's... While you're in the waiting room and you're like, what's taking so long? They're back there playing Jenga. That's why... Keep on going. Just keep on going. Keep taking them out. See, because what he's doing right now is his life was solid. Your life was solid because you're the Jenga. The doctor just represents your choices. And what doesn't look like a lot is that when we make a small decision and compromise on our integrity, well, it's still, I mean, he's being pretty strategic right now. It's still solid. It seems like it's not going anywhere, right? But with every bad decision he makes, what he's ultimately doing is, even though he's putting more on the top, he's simply weakening his foundation. Now we're going to let him keep doing this, and we're going to see how far he can get. And I want you to know, because some of you in here today are like, well, you know, I've made decisions where I lacked integrity and God didn't do anything about it. Not everything catches up with you on day one. Eventually, see, I know what he's doing. He's being strategic. He's a doctor. He's smart. But eventually, he's going to have to take a piece that's going to cost him something. Am I preaching to anybody today? Make sure you lock one camera onto him. Keep on going, doctor. You got one right there in the middle. You got a couple more in the middle. He's being strategic. Look at this. You're doing good. Go ahead and take this one right here. This is your decisions. Well, it's getting heavy, isn't it? It's getting heavy. Not that one. Look, this is like Price is Right. People yelling out, not that one. Doing good. Now you got to keep taking off the bottom. You can't go taking off the top. That's cheating, doctor. You can't cheat, doctor. Go on and take it. Go on and take it. And you call yourself a doctor. Absolutely awesome, sir. Thank you so much. That was great. Your lack of integrity today may not seem like much, but one day it's going to catch up with you. And everything you spent a lifetime building is going to fall down in one epic, disastrous moment. And you know what? Maybe nobody saw you when you made that little decision that lacked integrity. Maybe you got away with it because you did it in private. But the Bible says anything done in the dark will ultimately be brought to the light. And what I'm saying is you're building something today. You're building something today. You're putting more and more on it, but you better make sure your foundation is solid, and your foundation is no stronger than your integrity. Am I preaching to anybody today? Proverbs 20 verse 7, the righteous man walks in his integrity, but watch this, his children are blessed after him. Just like my life was affected as a little boy watching my dad go back to the bank, it has helped form who I am today. My mom always said, Eric will be honest to a fault. He'll be honest even if it means he ends up getting in trouble for it. It's always been something very important to me to be honest. To be honest, one of my core values is honesty. And this is why when somebody is dishonest with me, it hurts me deeply, because that's a core value. And this is why I hope when you get around people who know me the best, they don't say, you know, Pastor Eric, he's one person in the pulpit. When you get him home, he's a totally different person. But you know what I'm glad people have been able to say about me through the years? The same person you see up here is the same person he is at home, same person he is in the office, same person no matter where you go. He doesn't live one thing in front of you and live another thing when he's not around you, because I'm a person of integrity. I heard, speaking of children, I heard about a pastor in one of my commentaries I was reading this week. A pastor, he went out to visit this family. Their son had become a drug addict. And he went over to counsel with the mom and dad, and he sat down with the dad, and the dad said, it's just been awful. The drugs have taken his health. The drugs have taken his mind. The drugs have taken peace out of our family. But he looked at the preacher and he said, but you know what the worst thing is? The drugs have made him such a liar. He was an honest boy, and now the drugs have made him such a terrible liar. Just then the phone rang, and his wife answered it, and she brought it into her husband, and she said, such and such is on the phone. And he looked at his wife and said, tell them I'm not here right now. And the preacher said he thought in his heart, who made the boy a liar, the drugs or the dad? See, parents, more is caught than taught. And it doesn't matter what you're telling your kids to do, they're watching what you do. They're watching how you treat people. They're watching how you conduct your business. They're watching how you operate. They're watching how, and they're listening and they're catching. And as a parent, I'm leading by my example. Get rid of this, do as I say, not as I do. Your children don't understand that. They do as you do. Model integrity before them. Model integrity in front of them. The integrated life. See, when I live an integrated life, what I say lines up with what I do. My private life is consistent with my public life. Integrity, who you are when nobody's looking. If you knew you could do something and nobody would find out, what would you do? That's the measure of your integrity. Are you looking at something on the internet when you know your wife's not around? It's not integrity. Do you listen to things and do you say things that you wouldn't say when other people? That's not integrity. Who are you when nobody's looking? Here's what I've learned. If you have to hide it, it's not integrity. And your reputation is one of the most valuable things that you have. February 1st, 2003, Space Shuttle Columbia was entering back into Earth's atmosphere. This is it taking off from the Earth. Now at takeoff, something happened. A piece of foam broke off and it hit the wing, and the shuttle is covered in these small tiles of what's called silica. And the silica is so fragile you could put your finger through it, but it protects the shuttle from heat upon its re-entry. And a small piece of foam broke off and it hit the shuttle on the wing, right there on the left side of the shuttle. There's some amateur video that's about to come on the screen. They didn't have, news cameras weren't watching because it was such a common thing. But as this shuttle began to enter back into Earth's atmosphere, it's moving, I forget how many times faster than the speed of sound. And the outside is heating up. Here's that amateur video, and it's hard to see because it's blurry. Right now, it's 200,000 feet above the face of the earth. It's moving, I think, 10 or 20 times the speed of sound. The heat begins to build, and it finds that one damaged spot on the wing. And when it does, the space shuttle breaks up and falls apart, and all 7 astronauts lose their life. Space Shuttle Columbia, right here, you can see it, breaks into many pieces. 7 astronauts went into eternity because of one damaged spot on the wing. The integrity of the hull was compromised. The integrity. See, if it had integrity, it could keep the heat on the outside so that it would never damage the inside. But because there was damage in the integrity, the heat found its way into that space shuttle, and all 7 astronauts lost their life. You know, sometimes you can't just point to people, well, they did that to me or the devil did this to me. No, sometimes you let something get into your life, get into your home, get into your marriage, get into your family. And it didn't seem like a big thing. But it doesn't take a big thing to cost a life, to bring you down. And everybody on that shuttle lost their lives because there was a lack of integrity. Integrity is all about the small things. And let me ask you this question today. What is your integrity worth? Job had been through more trials and circumstances than anybody in human history. But to him, integrity was everything. And in Job 27, verses 5 and 6, he said, I will not deny my integrity. I will maintain my righteousness and never let go of it. My conscience will not reproach me as long as I live. You've never been through what Job went through. But yet he was able to say, I will not deny my integrity. I will never go to bed troubled by my conscience because of how I treated somebody, or because of how I betrayed somebody, or because of how I cheated somebody. One of the primary rules of navigation I was reading is what's under the surface should always carry more weight than what's above the surface if the ship is going to make it through storms without capsizing. If the weight ever gets above the surface in a storm, then the whole ship will be lost. This is integrity. What's under the surface has to be greater than what you're showing to the world, or you're never going to make it through storms in life. When you have integrity, nothing else matters. When you don't have integrity, nothing else matters. Well, what if I don't have integrity today, Pastor? Well, let me give you a couple things you can do if you've been living without integrity. Number one, apologize. You need to go to people and you need to say, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I've lived a life that wasn't integrity, and I wronged you in some way, and I need to apologize. I'm sorry. Go back to Psalms 15. Have you done any of those things in Psalms 15? Maybe you need to go apologize to somebody. I'm wrong. Number two, start doing what's right. Don't just go apologizing to everybody and keep living a life of no integrity. Make a choice today. I'm going to live an integrated life. Number three, this one comes from Jesus. Let your yes be yes and your no be no. Watch what the scripture says here. Anything beyond this comes from the evil one. So, will you be able to come to the party this weekend? Well, I'm just going to see if I can shuffle some things around, and I'm going to try to make it. I'm going to do my best to make it. You're lying. You are not going to do your best to make it. You know you're going to come up with an excuse. That's not integrity. Well, I'll hurt their feelings, Pastor. Well, that's their issue. Look at them and say, no, I'm not coming. I'm tired. I'm going to sit on the couch on Saturday and I'm going to eat Grater's ice cream. I'm not getting ready on Saturday. I'm not brushing my teeth. I'm not putting deodorant on. I'm not shaving my legs. I'm not doing anything on Saturday. No. And if you give a yes, you better back that yes up. I think about the people who go through Growth Track. I think about the people who sign up on Dream Team Sundays. I'll be a volunteer. I'll be a part. We love this church. Our whole family's going to be involved. 2 weeks later, we can't find you with a search warrant. It's not integrity, folks. You signed up for something. You made a commitment to something. Fulfill that commitment. Jesus says anything other than yes and no is from the evil one. Yes, no. Yes, no. And number 4, live holy. Live a set apart life. Live a life that's different. That's what holy means. It means sanctified, set apart for a special use. And the only way you can live holy is when you do your best to live like God. And God is one with his word. Has he not said it, and will he not perform it? He's a God of integrity. We are to be people of integrity. And you know what I saw in the Bible? Jesus was harder on hypocrites He was harder on hypocrites than prostitutes or adulterers in the Bible. He forgave all them, but man, you get Jesus in the presence of some hypocrites, he started calling them snakes, vipers. Watch what he says here in Matthew 23:25. Woe to you, teachers of the law and Pharisees, you hypocrites. You clean the outside of the cup and dish, but the inside, they are full of greed and self-indulgence. Blind Pharisee, first clean the inside of the cup and dish, and then the outside will also be clean. In the same way, on the outside, you appear to people as righteous, but on the inside, you are full of hypocrisy and wickedness. Do you know what the opposite of integrity is? A hypocrite. Do you know where the word hypocrite comes from? It's a term used for actors in ancient Greece. Hypocrite means actor or one who wears a mask. Proverbs 11:3, the integrity of the upright guides them, but the unfaithful are destroyed by their duplicity. Does somebody have my mask? You got my mask, Brian? Now this isn't exactly correct to what I had on, but when I was a little boy, I got a costume for Halloween. It was the Batman. It was the blue and gray. And man, it wasn't nice like this mask. It was this thin plastic that once it broke, you could slice steel with these masks. That's how sharp they were. And then we had this tiny little thin elastic band around the back that they stapled into the sides with the staples going inward. So by the end of Halloween, man, your face was bleeding, sweaty. It was sticking to the mask. It was awful. But I loved it. I had my little Batman mask on. And I would wear my costume almost daily. And the costume was all plastic. And I'd wear it almost daily. One time, I'm not sure how I was with him, but I was with my dad. And I don't know if he got a call. I don't know what happened. But we had to run down. And I didn't know anything about it. But my dad had found out that this man, he was an attorney, was having an affair on his wife. So I had my little Batman mask on, right? I didn't know where we were going. I didn't know what we were doing. My dad's told me this story. And he went down and he had me go sit over on the side. And I'm playing Batman in the courthouse. You know, here I am. I'm fighting for justice. And my dad confronts this attorney. His wife didn't know he was having an affair. And he said, you better change your ways or you're going to be found out. And he pointed over at me and said, see Eric over there wearing that mask? He really thinks he's Batman. And you really think you're getting away with what you're doing. But God knows what's behind the mask. And I want to tell somebody today, God knows what's behind the mask. And you've been putting it on, you've been wearing it thinking, I'm getting away with this, I'm getting away with this. But there's going to come a day where God's going to pull the masks off and he's going to expose you to the world for who you really are. Pastor, don't preach like that. That's hard preaching. That's tough preaching. I don't want to hear preaching like that. This is preaching that will not only get you to heaven, but this is preaching that you can hold your head up while you're walking around on earth. Stand with me all over this church today. I feel like the Spirit is leading me. Just keep playing, Marcus. I feel like the Holy Spirit is leading me right now for somebody. Pastor, why would you do this? Because some people, they need to make a change. And you don't need to make this change privately. You need to take a step that says, I'm no longer going to live a life with a lack of integrity. If I have preached to you, I'm not going to out your business. I'm not saying what you have or haven't done. But if this message was for you, I dare you to take a step of faith and get out of your seat and come meet me down here at this altar right now. I'm going to pray with you and we're going to leave this place being people of integrity. I don't know who I'm talking to, but I want you to come on right now. Come on, wherever you are. I know it's going to be a scary step of faith, but do it anyways. Do it anyways. God sees the mask. And God sees what's behind the mask. I would rather deal with it here than have God expose it out there. So come on, wherever you are. You can bring your family with you. Come on, get down here. Get down here. Let's encourage them as they come. There's more of you that need to be moving. Thank God for their boldness to move. Thank God for their taking a huge step of faith. Come on, keep coming. Keep coming. This is revival right now. This is revival. There's more. There are so many more. You've been dishonest in business, or you haven't lived life of integrity before your children. Come on. We're going to leave this place with the blessing of God on our life. We're going to leave this room with the favor of God on our life. We're going to leave this room and we will know that God is pleased with us because we are people of integrity. Give me some prayer warriors down here just to stand behind them and pray. But I believe there's more that are supposed to come. Come on, keep coming. Keep coming wherever you are. Keep coming. Keep coming. Wherever you are, keep coming. Keep coming wherever you are. We're going to pray in just a moment. We will be a culture of integrity.